Welcome back to the QandA podcast, as in Q&A. I'm your host, Sagan. Today we're interviewing Martin Walls, the creator of the Walten Files. Now, we'll be doing this interview over text, so I'll be reading off his answers. I think we'll skip the Yahoo and Twitter questions for this episode. So without further ado, let's get right into the interview with Martin Walls. My first question was, how did you come up with the idea for the Walten Files? Martin Walls says, "This is actually a long story. The idea of the characters originated in early 2016, but the story itself was created during 2017 to 2018 as a FNAF fan game by the name of Welcome to Bond's Burgers. The game was 100% drawings, and you'd play as the facility caretaker repairing stuff and completing missions. The game had a ton of problems, and I was really bad at organizing stuff and saying release date, which led to the game suffering a ton of delays and ended up me just canceling the game because I didn't like working on it anymore. Besides, the playable demos released for the game got little to no attention, to the point struggling with it so much wasn't worth it. However, the people that helped me create the game, composers and voice actors, did an amazing job, and I didn't want all their effort to rot in the corner. That's why I decided to make some sort of video or something, showcasing the unused stuff. The idea of creating and editing the video grew on me more and more, to the point I decided to make a whole spin-off series, including the soundtrack and stuff. And I remember at the time I decided to create the Walten Files, I was very invested in analog horror / found footage stuff, such as Local 58 or FNFVHS, so I decided that this was the best way to execute the project. The next question is, how were you introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's? Martin says, "Funny story, back in September of 2014, a huge friend of mine told me about a scary bear party game. During lunch, we decided to play the game, and when we first played it, I was 100% sure that the game took place in a factory instead of a pizzeria. I had skipped the newspaper part." The next question is, what made you decide to animate the Walten Files in such a unique way? Martin answers, "Ever since I was a child, I always found flash animation really creepy, mainly due to channels like David Firth. So when I started to animate the series, I really wanted to emulate the way that they animate. I'd say the animatronic performing part was the hardest one to animate. I actually did that scene in a game creator program to be able to control the animatronic movements myself to make the effect look more genuine." Now this one I was really interested to hear about, considering the Walten Files is so unique, so I asked, what are your thoughts on the state of FNAF VHS videos in general? Martin says, "I really love the whole concept of FNAF with the found footage style, which is why it makes me really upset when I see so many people don't really explore the concept of all. You have channels like Squimpus McGrimpus, who does a really good job exploring the concept and emulating the 80s era, or other underrated channels who also take advantage of the style and use it to scare the audience. I highly recommend checking out a video called Fazbear Toddler Fun. That video takes advantage of the found footage concept masterfully. But when you have other channels that, even though I wouldn't call their videos bad, it feels like they're just scratching the surface. Videos that try to do the same thing like Squimpus McGrimpus, but lack what made FNAF VHS scary at the first time. It almost feels like, hey, she did a video and people got scared by the video. That means if I do the same stuff, people will get scared too. But it isn't that easy to set a tone to unease the viewer. If you really want to make your audience scared, you need to look deeper than just the presentation of FNAF VHS. You need to stop and think what actually made people so terrified. It's not as easy as just adding some text with a creepy animatronic image. I do enjoy most VHS vids out there. They're good nonetheless, I just feel like there could be much more." Alright, now we've got the last two questions here. Who are your biggest creative inspirations? Martin says, "I think the main inspirations were channels like Local 58, Squimpus McGrimpus, Petscop, and this next one, I got a lot of flack for pronouncing it wrong the last time, so I'm just going to say Mushroom Land TV and Marble Hornets. These channels do a great job in making me feel uneasy, and analyzing what makes them scary was a ton of fun." Alright, the last question I asked was, what would you say is the key to making something scary? Kind of a big question, but Martin has a very detailed answer. In my opinion, I feel like the key to making something scary is dragging the viewer into the story, making the viewer interested in what they're seeing, to try and get the viewer's attention by showing the viewer a concept they're familiar with, then turn the concept upside down. Petscop is all about video games, Local 58 is about a news station, FNAF VHS is all about animatronic pizzerias, and all three of them turn the concept upside down. I also think a good way of unsettling the audience is by making them feel like something is off in the very beginning. That's what I did with the Walten Files. I wanted the animatronics and the Bond's Burgers logo to look as off as possible at the start of the video. But one of the most important things in a horror video is the editing and sound design. You could put a super happy image, for example, children playing in the park, but music and sounds can change the whole mood of the situation. An image of happy kids with children's music is cute, but if you use disturbing music and sounds, the whole situation takes a 180-degree turn. The viewer no longer thinks it's cute, the viewer thinks it's unsettling. Silence also counts as sound editing. Silence is an amazing way to create dread or suspense. Abrupt sound cuts catch the viewer off guard in a good way. But a key to a good scare is being unexpectable. Well, thank you, Martin, for the interview. I have to say, I'm very excited to see what comes next with the Walten Files, and as people have definitely pointed out in the comments of my last Walten Files video, I was not 100% correct in my last one, so we will have to wait until the next Walten Files video comes out to take a look at what happens from there. Thank you for listening. Tune in whenever the next episode comes out. Bye.